Have you ever wondered how someone can just vanish in the heart of one of the world's most secretive places? Today we're going to be discussing the case of Emanuela Orlandi. Welcome back to Beyond the Hub podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Brandon. This case has more twists and conspiracies than an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and it'll leave you questioning the Vatican's secrets, which I already do.
Oh yes, so that's right. Stay with us, because this is going to be a crazy one. We're going to explore a disappearance that's more puzzling than trying to assemble any furniture from Amazon without the instructions, or even with them.
Or IKEA furniture. Yeah. That's terrible too.
Okay, let's start with a bit of background on Emanuela Orlandi. Emanuela was a 15-year-old girl living in Vatican City, the daughter of a Vatican employee. She led a typical teenage life, attending school and music lessons. Now, her father worked in the Vatican's prefecture of the papal household.
Papal.
Yeah. Papal? 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 The papal household, which gave their family a unique position in the Vatican walls.
But that all changed on June 22nd, 1983. This is a long one, like a long time ago. Emanuela was last seen after leaving a music lesson in Rome. She called her sister to mention that she had been approached by a man offering her a job to distribute Avon products. This seemingly innocent encounter took a dark turn when Emanuela never made it home that evening.
Now, her family reported her missing, and the investigation quickly took on a life of its own. It wasn't just the local police who got involved. The Vatican authorities also stepped in, showing the seriousness and complexity of the situation.
Or potentially covering up their complicit. Their complacency in this situation. I think that's the right word. Being complicit in the disappearance of this girl. Maybe they're trying to cover it up.
Very interesting indeed.
Just saying.
Now, what do you think could cause someone to disappear in a place as secure as Vatican City? Could it be a case of mistaken identity, or was she targeted? Share your thoughts with us.
Well, me personally, I'm going to offend someone by saying this, but I think the Vatican is involved in some way, shape, or form with the large trafficking organization and scheme that's been going on for decades that involves a certain someone that, may have potentially, I don't believe, took their own life in prison. And involving a specific island that, if I say all of these names, will get a Wikipedia entry in the bottom of this video telling me I'm wrong.
Well, it will, and it's in the shape of the old Nickelodeon logo, right?
Yeah, I think so, actually.
I saw that. Yeah, we're definitely getting Wikipedia in under here. Just for mentioning Wikipedia, we're going to get Wikipedia.
Yeah, probably.
Let's talk about some of the details of that day. So after leaving her music lesson, Emanuela was last seen near a bus stop in Rome. So witnesses described her talking to a man with a green BMW. This detail raised immediate suspicion, as it was unusual for her to interact with strangers.
And despite extensive searches and public appeals, no concrete leads emerged. The initial investigation focused on the possibility of Emanuela being kidnapped for ransom. Flyers were distributed, and her family made numerous appeals on national television, but nothing came of it.
However, things took a darker turn when anonymous calls suggested that she had been taken as leverage to secure the release of, I'm going to butcher this name, Mehmet Ali Akga. Did I say that right?
I would say Mehmet Ali Agha.
Okay. That sounds more like it. He was the man who attempted to assassinate Pope John Paul II in 1981. And this link to such a high-profile case added an intriguing layer to this investigation, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And theories of a Vatican cover-up began to circulate, which is what my initial thought was. The idea that powerful individuals might be hiding crucial information only fueled the public's fascination and frustration with the lack of progress.
So
let's imagine being Emanuela. Imagine being in her shoes. Approached by a stranger with an offer you couldn't refuse. Right. An offer you couldn't refuse. What would you do in that situation? Let us know your thoughts.
Unless he's got a gun to you or something, I'm screaming.
I mean, if
doing
I'm
something.
Putting myself truly in her shoes, if I was 15 years old and somebody approached me like that, I wouldn't scream unless like they continued to pursue me as I kept walking away. I'd be like, nah, I don't want what you're selling, and I keep walking. And this is me at 15 years old, how I would have reacted. Nah, I don't want what you're selling, keep walking. Mind my business. And then they're like, hey, but wait, I'm like, no, leave me alone. This is the last time. I keep going. And then if they approach me again or the vehicle starts inching towards me, I'm sprinting and screaming, they're trying to take me. That's how I would do it, because I'm not just going to run and say they're trying to take me when somebody asks me a question, because I'm not trying to, there are genuine people out there that you're going to have everybody start attacking this guy it was a man, attacking this man when they were just like, yo man, I just need some directions.
Just trying to sell my Avon.
So like if they continue to pursue after that, I would have left, but it's suspicious.
I mean, getting in the car, your chances of surviving are basically none.
Yeah.
So whatever you can do to not get in that car, do, because the possibility of you being injured right then and there, or the chances of what happening afterwards is way worse than what could happen then.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there are many theories surrounding her disappearance, and one of them, one of the most prominent, is the idea of a Vatican cover-up.
No way.
Some believe that high-ranking officials were involved and have been hiding the truth for decades. And the Vatican's secretive nature and its history of shielding its internal affairs from the public eye lends some credibility to this theory.
Which is why I am skeptical of the Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
Another theory involves organized crime. Some speculate that Emanuela was taken by the Banda della Magliana, a notorious criminal organization in Rome. It's kind of, what are they, like the mob? This group was known for its connections to various illicit activities, including the Vatican bank scandal. The scandal involved the collapse of Banco Ambrosiano in 1982, where the Vatican Bank was the main shareholder. It was revealed that the bank had been involved in money laundering and had connections with the mafia. Yeah, there we go. Connections with the mafia. The idea here is that Emanuela might have been a pawn in a larger scheme involving these criminal elements.
Mm-hmm. Now, I like that. I think that theory is probably what it is, but there was also the possibility of political motives. Could Emanuela been, yet again, just a pawn in a larger political game, perhaps connected to an international terrorism or espionage? I mean, the timing of her disappearance, I can't speak, is so close to the attempted assassination of the Pope, certainly raises questions about the potential political motivations of this. I don't know, though. But what theory do you find most convincing? Could Emanuela's disappearance be the result of cover-up, organized crime, politically motivated, or all of the above? What are your thoughts and theories?
I think that the politically motivated one is probably at least likely, because, what does she have to do with any of the political stuff? She's a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, but they said they might have wanted to use her as a bargaining to get that guy who attempted to assassinate the Pope out.
Sure. So they say, we want the Pope out. We're going to kidnap a random girl.
But I don't think she was random, though, because she was connected to the inner circle of the Vatican.
Well, she just had her father was an employee there. It doesn't necessarily mean he's connected to the inner circle.
But you don't know what his actual role was. Maybe he was on the take or something.
Oh, maybe his role was taking the little boys back and the altar boys,
Oh my.
And doing stuff that is abhorrent. I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe her father was involved in some illicit things.
And they were using that to take advantage of it.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that was a price that he had to pay, having his daughter kidnapped, and whatever terrible fate she faced, likely suspecting, because of his non-compliance with something. I don't know. That's a theory too. I just think that getting that guy out that attempted to assassinate the Pope, I think that's the least likely, because you would want to take someone, like, let's say the person who's responsible for the release of that person, take that person's daughter or son or child or wife or family member, because then that person's motivated to be corrupt and let this criminal out. Sure, but a random person, I don't think so. I see where you're saying, well, like, maybe she's somehow connected.
Yeah, I think she was targeted for some reason because of where he was in there. Maybe he had some pull, or like I said before, maybe he did something. I don't know. Well, I don't think we'll ever know because they'll never tell us.
It's so secretive.
Yeah.
Vatican is so secretive. Like, and I'm not making a jab at organized religion or anything. Like, I'm Christian, but I don't like how weird the Vatican is with the Catholic Church, and how the church is the highest authority and not God being the highest authority. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I was raised Catholic, and then eventually said that I was an atheist because I didn't like Catholicism, or the church just felt not right. I'm not going to say evil or disgusting, but I just would step foot in the church and things wouldn't make sense to me. Go tell your sins to this man in a box, and now you're absolved after you say X number of whatever prayer. It's like, why don't I just talk to God and tell him I'm sorry? Like, stuff like that just never made sense to me. And then as I grew up, I found out about more of the Vatican themselves being the ultimate authority in the Catholic Church. Their complacency, or their involvement, being complicit in some terrible, terrible crimes, against humanity and children, being involved in those. It just makes me think that there's way more darker things than just letting the guy who tried to assassinate the Pope out of prison.
You remember that episode when we talked about it was either portals or something about where we would like to, like, transport to, like another. I think I really want to know what's inside the Vatican archives, or like the places where normal people can't go.
The Apple of Eden.
Yeah.
That's what's down there if you play Assassin's Creed 2. Because at the end of the game you get to explore in the Vatican. Have you ever played that one?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was really, I loved the historical representation of Italy back then, and Rome and the Vatican. That was great. That was a great game. There's some ancient artifacts down there. I believe so, actually, in all seriousness, not joking. I believe there are some ancient artifacts down there of some significance to the larger spiritual picture than just, this is a pot that they made back then or something like that, or a vase or vase, whatever, however you pronounce it, or a painting. Like, I think it's way more significant than that. I think there's some technology down there.
The stuff that would hurt the church.
Probably.
If it were to get out.
Probably.
But, all right, let's go back here. Despite the years that have passed, her case continues to capture the public's interest yet again. And in 2019, actually, bones were discovered in a Vatican cemetery, sparking hopes of finally finding some answers. However, after a thorough examination, the bones were determined not to be Emanuela's, leaving her family and the public with more questions than answers.
I'm left with a little bit more questions too, because whose bones were those? That's like, okay, we can't find Emanuela, but now whose bones are these? That's a whole separate investigation.
Hey, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They're sleeping with the fishes. The Orlandi family has never given up hope, which is great, continuing to push for transparency and answers from the Vatican. Their relentless pursuit of the truth has kept the case alive in the media. Documentaries, books, and extensive media coverage continue to explore and analyze every aspect of this mystery.
In fact, in 2020, Pope Francis reportedly expressed a desire for the Vatican to fully cooperate in solving the mystery. Despite this, though, no concrete results have yet to present themselves. The Vatican's response has been seen as both a step forward and a source of further frustration due to the lack of any outcomes.
Yeah, and this case still today remains one of Italy's most infamous mysteries. The people want the truth. The truth. And unfortunately, they may never get it. This continuous struggle between the demand for answers and the lack of resolution keeps the public and media engaged.
Well, I think they're just hoping people will forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
I really don't think they will. I mean, the people want the truth. When the people want the truth, they're not going to stop.
That's why I came out. He's like,
Asking for the
oh,
truth.
we're going to talk about it again. Oh, and then everyone's like, oh, wow, they're going to talk about it. And then there's like, nothing happens again. There's like, oh, maybe they just...
It's like they're trying to memory hole it. And when it really comes down to it, like with the client list of said individual with said specific island, all I need to say is that, and most people know who I'm talking about. There was this big commotion about the client list finally being revealed to the public of who was being trafficked to who was trafficking the children to whom, the service of who was employing those services, who was wanting that. Those people should be the ones who get different sentences that I wish I could say on YouTube.
They won't.
But when that came out, everybody was like, we haven't forgot about this. We want this list. And then the list ended up being like redacted because most likely the people who they're protecting cut a deal, or maybe there's some more nefarious reasons. And we still don't have that list. Does that mean that everybody who wants that list, wants to know the truth, stopped wanting to know? Oh, okay, we just got the little breadcrumb trail. Well, that'll do. No. People like myself and many others whom I talk to want the truth. We want that list. We want to know who was so-and-so responsible for trafficking children to. We don't know. And similar to this case, I don't think that it's a matter of never finding out. I think it's a matter of when, because the truth will be revealed in a matter of time. Like the truth will always come out somehow. I mean, if you just look at time as a grand, from the beginning of time to the end of time, sometime within there, the truth about everything will be revealed. It's just, will it be within our lifetime? I don't know. We really don't know. The more time that passes, the harder it is to come across the truth. And the easier it is for them to try to memory hole things. But I think with enough pushback, then things won't be memory holed. So, in our case that's currently going on right now, that I've mentioned a couple times in society today, I think people should keep speaking out about it, keep pushing for it, so that it doesn't go almost 40 years without getting talked about like this one. Well, without actually getting an answer, like Emanuela's case. But all you guys, have you heard of this before? Have you followed Emanuela's case closely? Have you heard of it at all? What do you think happened to her yourself? Share your thoughts and any theories you might have with us below.
I was going to say before, I think the church is definitely involved.
Yeah.
I don't know to the extent, but there's just too many coincidences which add up to definitely something happening.
Yeah. It's hard to make any like specific claims.
Yeah.
With the lack of evidence and information, but I am leaning towards, some malicious involvement of the Vatican as well. And it's interesting that the Vatican, it's similar to like DC in the United States. It's not a state, it's not a city, it's not a country, it's its own entity. It's like a city state.
So they can do whatever they want.
They could do whatever they want. They're like outside the law. It's weird. I don't like it. So that just leads me to think more suspicious about them. Why do you need that privilege to not have the same laws as everywhere else, or regulations?
Laws for thee and not for me.
Yeah.
It's wild how this case involves so many big players. Like, do you think there's some truth in any of these theories? Anyone watching?
And in the theories that we've said, I think so, because that's what I truly believe. But these twists and turns are actually what make this so gripping and interesting to talk about. Every new clue just seems to add more layers to this mystery.
I mean, so what about you all? What theory do you think holds the most weight? Could there be a mix of factors at play here? Let us know your thoughts.
Well, I think it's least likely to be the mob, but could be. Or the mafia, could be. But most likely to be some sort of cover-up for the Vatican, so they don't look bad on the world stage. That's my final theory there.
I'm just going to say she was targeted or something. That's just my theory, that she was targeted and her father was targeted because he knew something and they were trying to exploit that for something. But we really want to hear you guys' theories. But in that case, that is a wrap on our third and final episode in the Mysterious Disappearances series.
And while we may not have all the answers, exploring these mysteries helps us keep the conversation going.
And your theories and comments fuel our discussions. Remember that this conversation doesn't end here. If you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and click that little bell, you can share your thoughts with us below, because we're eager to hear how you've connected the dots, so to speak, through the episodes.
And remember, the exploration continues. We cannot wait to have you back for even more revelations. Don't miss our live stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our top paranormal stories of the week, straight from our Facebook group. It's your chance to discuss all these theories that we've covered over the past weeks and share your experiences and even explore them deeper with us, live. So until then, stay curious and keep seeking the truth.
Until next time, this is Beyond the Hub Podcast, where the realms of the paranormal and conspiracies collide, and the truth is waiting to be unveiled. We'll see you soon.
Take care, everybody. I didn't find a velociraptor.